It,
It took the family units, it took fellowship, it took brother. The corpus took that from us.
the corpus. Fucking corpus, man.
Corpus!
Shit. Fucking. They own the porn.
They own everything. They run this big. They run the origin system. They probably control the frames. They probably have a hand in the war. I wouldn't be surprised if they are allies with the sentients. The sentients, our greatest ally. And the corpus.
Oh, man. Fucking corpus, man.
You're gonna exit out the world. You're gonna be respawned and recycled once you're done. Once you miss the prompts, don't make the QT, miss the tutorial, and you die, and you'll see. We'll be somewhere else entirely. And I think that they know that. I think that if the corpus would understand this entire reality is theirs and it's a mechanism, they'd eventually figure out how it works, and here we are, where you're just a node. What you are is, you consume, you watch movies, you buy stuff. I mean, as far as the proletariat and as far as the main consumer class of poor people, like people in these demographics, you're the only people that buy anything. Like, rich people don't. Corpus, the elites, they don't buy anything. They save money. They make money. They have generational wealth. Poor people are the only people buying Nintendo Switches. Poor people are the only people buying the brand new PS5. Poor people are going to buy the next TV, the next QLED. Everything else is just it's gain to them. It doesn't matter. It's all profit.
Would you say you're someone that would you ever worship money?
Oh, I do now. I'm an unashamed. I want to coin the term. I'm a proletarian capitalist, so I'm not going to be anywhere near playing in the leagues or the leaderboards of the corpus. But I'm basically fucking. What was it? Diamond Citadel or whatever the fuck that faction is. It's like, I use my money, I make money, and my life is about money. And any man that has a sense about him will not work for free.
Yeah, of course. Well, nothing's
Because I used to
free.
be more lefty. I used to be more of a little commie in my younger years. And I would have thought that, oh man, money is, what do you need money for? You need six figures? Like, who cares about six figures? I don't even need finances. Like, if you think that that ties to your worth as a person, then you're a very small-minded, like, stupid person. It's like, no, you were convinced by them that you don't need money. It's useless. Give it all to us. It's the root of all evil. Get that out of your pocket. And while you're at it, why don't you hand it to me?
Well, did you get it all out of your pocket, would you say?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I spent, you have no goddamn idea how much money I spent on just any time as a kid I would get money. I got, like, the first time I got $100, I was like, fucking, like, I'm rich, bitch! I fucking went to Walmart, I got myself a fucking trading card game that I didn't even play just because I wanted the Fantastic Four articulated action figures. Over 100 points of articulation, mind you. I fucking didn't even use those cards or play that game. I just messed with the figurines. And then I bought Quad ATV Fury Unleashed for the Game Boy Advance. Zelda the Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance. Love that game. One of the best Zeldas. And Ty the Tasmanian Tiger for the Game Boy Advance.
Nice.
And I just blew that one. That was my first $100 I ever made. And now, from an entrepreneurial perspective, most people were like, oh, the first $100 I ever made, I took that and doubled it and invested it, and I built an empire. And you're like, yeah, I don't even know what the fuck happened to those Game Boy Advance games, and those action
You
figures
don't
probably
even
got
know
chewed
how
up by the
to. You
goddamn
didn't
dog.
know how to spend You didn't even know how to spend $100.
No, I knew how to spend it. Fucking, I won't spend it on what I wanted, but to me, I was like, it's $100. I'm fucking rich. And like, I never looked at money differently until I grew up, and like,
Money
you really,
from a business
it's like a thing where,
standpoint.
Not just money from the standpoint of like, if this is a game, then I'm just going to get the points that I get to help out me and mine, and that's it. Like anybody else that wants to parasite off of me, well, it can die when the host dies because you'll get what little you can from me, but I'm not actively stopping anyone out there from improving their lives. So if they die in the course of blaming me and mine, then they were just pathetic to begin with.
Hmm. I
In
mean,
death, people will understand that this was a game that you should have been playing every day. In death, they'll know that it was real. It was as real as it gets, but it's still a game. Like, this is the most dangerous game that's probably ever been played.
yeah.
But it's a game. I'm fucking ready to test that out. I'm ready to stop living in the shadow of the unlived life and the fear of resistance and just go and fucking throw myself out of a plane and skydive and deep sea dive and
Just
do
live life.
shit that like actually like you're a game character. Live like you're a game character. Because if you die, and if we've already died again, you don't remember it. You're here talking to me. Like as instantaneously as you've done everything else in your life, you're here and we're having this conversation now. So what was it when you ran into battle that day and you were stomped down by the enemy's horses, or you died downtown trying to jump over the fucking dam or the lake or whatever and you like didn't make it, or like were Evil
Jumped
Knievel
off
in
a
another life,
building
or you were
from
some
suicide.
stuntman, or you were some fucking depressed alcoholic and you killed yourself in some crazy futuristic Star Trek future where you just couldn't cut it, just couldn't cut the mustard.
Yeah.
What is it if an instantaneous respawn? If this is a game, why would you not get out there and put your money where your mouth is? Put the tokens into the machine and fucking go for it. Like, see what you can do. See what really comes about of this thing, because you could die tomorrow. You could die right now. I could die every day for some mediocre shit. I could die on the way to work. I have more of a chance of dying on the way to work than I do of dying of COVID-19. And I've been going to work every single day since this thing started, and a lot of people haven't. So I would say I even have more of a chance now being some of the only people on the road.
That works.
And so, why wouldn't I fucking, like, why would I want to sit around for the rest of my life thinking about playing this game when one day I'm going to have to eject the disc, I'm going to have to leave this place behind, and it will have just been as intangible as the data on an old lost hard drive or a memory card that's been misplaced. Whereas I could go for that moment. I could jump from the plane. I could fucking pursue high speed. I could do the things that if they'd messed up, it would kill you instantaneously. But what is it if not part of the experience? If death isn't part of the mechanics of the game, it wouldn't be in the game. Like, if you weren't meant to handle it, if you weren't meant to basically just be like, oh, I'm dying right now, this ain't shit. Like, that's how it was when I was on that, like, 70 milligrams, man. It was like, that's what I was so afraid of, and I'm doing it. And now, and you're just like,
It's like not shit.
now there's nothing left to do except, it was like the most exciting, most safest, most like, you're okay. Like, you're gonna be fine no matter what. Like, I've never felt that before, and it was like, you just died. Like, and now, that was it. Like, that was the big deal. And now, what's next? And it's almost like literally like, you beat the boss, you beat the puzzle, and now all that's left is endless play. Like, a universe where there is novelty, a universe where you no longer feel that I missed my boat, I should have done this, my life passed me by, I ruined these things, I'm a wretch, I'm a fucking horrible person. It's like, no, none of that. It's as simple as, well, do you want to be a horrible person, or do you just want to switch the slider off and leave this life behind? And I'm not advocating suicide, I'm not advocating anything, but hell, man, what's to stop anybody from doing something like skydiving or spelunking or cliff jumping? Or if you can really embrace that, what are you going to do but sit around for the rest of your days being the protagonist in one of the most
Watching porn and
detailed,
shit, just
gigantic
jerking off, killing
games
kids.
that has ever been made, and you're going to be afraid to die. Because why? Because you live because you want to keep doing that? Is that the life you want, that you're afraid to lose? That's what you're afraid to never do again, to never have another day of sitting at home jerking off to women that you're like, God, I would love to have a woman like that to come home and talk about games with and passionately fuck. But no, I'm just gonna sit here while I hear someone doing construction down the road and kids playing, and you're like, I'm jerking off there! Shut up!
Yeah, grumpy,
And you're the freak, and you're
unhappy.
the fucking wretch, and you are the modern man, and you are dying, and you are wasting away. When you could press start, you could grab the fucking controller, you could press forward on the stick, and you could get results. You could see that this is a game, and why not play it? Why even
Why
think about it?
not live your life before you die? Like, there's some people that are dying tomorrow, and they've probably done shit with their life. They haven't traveled, they haven't explored, they haven't. Yeah, I'm very familiar with those terms because when my mom was dying from cancer, she traveled around the whole world before she died because she knew that she was gonna die. Early at least. There's a difference from knowing you're gonna die because everyone is gonna die, but knowing when you're gonna die is a little bit
Yeah.
scarier to some
Oh
people.
yeah, man. Knowing that like you have your date is set in stone.
Yeah, like it's like you have a month to live or some shit. It may not be completely set in stone, but it's like
Like it's like you can see that gauge up in the right hand corner of the screen and it's dropping and you're just like, fuck.
yeah, it's very much like because a lot of people don't. It's very different. Like if you like a lot of
And
people
there's
are
no
like yeah
quests
everyone's gonna
you can
die,
do
but when you
to
do
live.
when you have like when you know you only have like 8 months to live, terminal, and you're in a fucking like what? Are you just gonna sit around all day? Or are you gonna go fucking skydiving or some shit? It really comes down to all that. Like I understand completely where that point comes from because I know people that have been in like situations similar to that. It's like every day. I'll explain my day. I wake up, I play games, and I jerk off. That's fucking it. Like, do I want to live
Yeah,
like this? No.
that's the modern man. The that is the soul of masculinity crying out for retribution when all we have left is endless hedonism and escapism and porn and you if Rule 34 if it exists there's porn of it like we are so far into the maelstrom of this degenerate just perverted godless society then people can't even understand they can't even they think it's funny they think it's something to laugh at you think you're an edgelord if you want to face down the barrel of the rest of your life with no wife no son, no daughter, no family, no anything real, anything tangible, no journey, no. I don't know about you, man, but in the end of The Witcher, it was a very. I was depressed as fuck because Geralt's story ends and he's in a vineyard with his woman and he's retired from his life of adventures and prestige and traveling across oceans and seeing many different sunsets over many different lands, helping varied people and kings and peasants and all walks of life. Just he really went out there and made his mark in the pages of his book.
Yeah.
And his game ends,
Like
and
he
he's in
wrote
a
a
vineyard.
story
Yeah, and you know
and
what I
then
mean? How Blood and
peaceful.
Wine ends. He's in a vineyard, and he literally is just retiring now. Like if you played all the other content, the game literally ends with like all that's left to do now is for you to fix up your vineyard, spend time with your woman, and die in happiness. Like
Yeah,
and
but
you can have that. You can have a taste of that, just the tip of your tongue on that fantasy when you play that game. But when you leave it behind and when the credits roll, there is that empty part in my soul calling out for like, what about me?
yeah, like what if I haven't left no mark, no story.
All I've done is scuffed up a bunch of plastic special edition controllers. Got a bunch of fucking trophies.
Like you're living as
Talk
the
shit
peasants
online.
in the story that never did shit when
Yeah,
he's
you begin to see yourself as the people that you run over, the people that are no one, the people that you're like, yeah, I could kill this guy, but I got better things to do. I'm a badass. Like people that will look at us like that, people that are like, I could kill you and your entire family and pave over your little town and make a strip mall out of it, but we're not yet. Yet. Like you're nothing. We're nothing in the scheme of things. Why wouldn't I want to throw myself into this with all the sound and fury signifying nothing rather than just die out? Like, I was safe. I didn't get hurt. I didn't get injured. I didn't end up in the ER. I didn't shatter into something at high speeds, destroying my teeth and my cranium. I didn't splatter like a bug against reality. And it's like, I was safe. I played a lot of games. I talked to a lot of people. I lost what it meant to really actually... Maybe the reason why I look towards interactive entertainment games for so much more is because I've been doing this for so long. It's like, maybe now I want to touch the artifice that is reality. I want to reach out and actually try to press X on this bitch.
You
Because we're
wanna,
gonna die. We're not gonna
yeah,
be here, man. Like, the conversation that me and you are having now, the space and
won't
time that our
matter
forms
in
occupy,
years.
the controllers we're holding right now. One day, some kid might be buying those in a thrift store, wherever they make it to. One day, some of my family members' grandchildren or granddaughters, like, would be like, "Oh, this was Uncle, great great uncle, whatever's," and like, to them it's like an Atari, or to them it's just something that they sell in a yard sale and they go through your shit after you die, or the larynxes in our throats and our vocal cords will fade away upon decomposition after our ultimate when we are deceased in the physical form. And what we're
Yeah,
saying right now and where we are and how definite that it feels. It's finite. It's not. It's it's fleeting. All we are is a shout into the void. And it's not a very powerful one.
yeah. Does that make you depressed at all? Like,
Yeah, man.
or do
Like
you,
when
like,
I you'd have to be for people that think that they're edgy about it, people that think that it doesn't make them depressed, if you think that it doesn't, and I'm not even trying to be mean about it, like, you haven't grappled with life yet. You haven't truly left the tutorial stages of reality yet and truly got into life where you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to try to work for these people. I guess I'm going to try to navigate through this hierarchy. This will be my
yeah, like,
new frame of reference for what it's going to happen. And people that think that it's going to be so easy to walk away from everything that used to make life worth being,
living.
worth existing.
But for a lot of people, it's just jerking off all day.
Yeah. And it's because they haven't done it long enough, or they haven't truly. The moment you try to get out of the pull of this black hole that is our society, you realize that you're never probably going to do it. And then it'll start to set in. The black pill will start to take true form, and you will understand, like, I am a controlled, subliminally messaged Pavlovian dog barking and clapping like a seal at synaptic responses and pornosec technologies and, like, straight up Orwellian textbook shit that nobody understands how fucked they are. Nobody understands the
Like,
level
no one understands that everything
of
you say
control
just
that this
goes to the
society.
void. Like, think about people from royal times. You never hear anything about them, and if you do, it's always the winner, so who really knows? Winner writes history.
Yeah, the castles were overgrown in the mountains where they were left behind after a siege. Great cities fell. We always, I think, why I don't even care so much anymore about, like, you will die in the end. And I don't even think that it's so much about that. It's more about that this game is all about going out there. And because what's kind of crazy about this game is that, at least this one, in our reality, as far as like your reality is Ben, my reality is Chance, it's strange to think that if you fuck up and die, you don't respawn as Ben. Like, well, I mean, maybe, well, I mean, who knows? Maybe you do, like, in a, maybe there's, multiple saves. Like, I was thinking of that today. Like, can you imagine if you could go back inside your head and the way you see it in Skyrim, like all the first person shots of where you were over time, you know, like the point of view. You could go back
Yeah.
inside your head and just look through and be like, oh, there's me looking at myself in the mirror at 13, or there's me like when I was jumping on a
Yeah.
trampoline, or there's me jerking off at 17. Like you could just go back and like instantly like snap into it and just be like load the save. Like that would be kind of scary, you know what I mean? Because it would give this life of, well, I made the choices and I have the
Yeah.
consequences, and here we are, and this is what the world is. But if you could reload the save, it'd be much different.
Like you could like change the way you did something.
Yeah, it'd probably be very. You'd probably lose control of yourself. It'd probably cause a lot of damage. You're like, dude, in this playthrough, I'm gonna be totally evil
Yeah, I'm gonna do the evil playthrough,
because
and
it's a
then
game. I know, and I know for a fact it is. I got the saves.
you got the
Come here,
saves.
bitch.
Yeah, that'd be
You just do
pretty.
some like, you become like America's Most Wanted. You become like, tonight at 11, are you being stalked by murderers and serial rape? Like think of the people that, like, the people you see, you're like, they murdered their whole family, and then they fucking slit their throats, and then shot their kids in the face, or
Yeah,
they
like how
shot their
the
wife in the face, and then, or I read this story about, like, this pregnant woman who, she was pregnant with her kid, and then she didn't want to have this kid because she couldn't afford it, so she drove her and her kids up to, like, the top of this parking garage or whatever, and then she threw her son off, and then she threw her daughter off, and then she jumped off.
yeah just committed mass suicide and shit. It's just like
Yeah, it's like, what, like, people that, like, that's a normal person. That's not a person that ever did psychedelics. That lady didn't, like, these people that just snap and do the things that we're like, what the fuck happened there?
what if it's just people that realized it's a game?
Yeah, are they in a game? Are they in, like, are serial killers the player? Are they just like you in a game where you're like, can I kill these people? And I'm not advocating that. If you kill people, that's on your own volition, dude. You're a psychopath, and get some help. But, like, seriously, I've thought about that my whole life, because I've just played games my whole life, and, like, I know they say it's a cliche amongst my generation, but we look at everything as games, but it's like, I mean, that's kind of what this whole show is about in the philosophical sense and in the tangible sense of reality as a game, as reality. Just because it's a game doesn't mean that you can't be murdered by some dude that is going to fuck you up. Like, in a game, you can be griefed. In a game, you can lose. You can be status affected. You can be hit by the game's rules. Like, games have rules.
Yeah, it's
And this
like
game's ultimate rule and ultimate equalizer is death.
yeah. So are you so when it comes down to life and death for you, like would you say like would you say you're ready for it, or like if the worst happened tomorrow, would you just end it all just because the worst happened, or would you see it through?
For me, it's more like we'll incinerate that bridge as we cross it.
Like you don't know
Because you
yet?
can never truly know until you're in the situation of like, get the
Yeah.
fuck on the floor! Motherfucker, you move, nigga, you fucking move, I'll put these bullets!
Yeah,
Or
it's
like
like
fucking, or you're like in a place where someone's like, hey man, I'll fuck you up. Fuck you up right now, I'll slit your fucking throat. Someone more fucking word to me.
yeah, it's
Or
like
you
you
get
don't
stabbed to death by some meth head, or you get raped in prison. Like,
like
you
you
can't
don't know
know
yet.
until the shit is really going down. But what I know for certain is that at times I am now terrified and excited to die.
Yeah, it's like
Because if this is a game, and if it really is, then you couldn't, like, your ultimate demise, your end, your atoms reaching their finale. You can't even, there's no words for it. There's no thought process. There's no imagination. There's like, everybody wonders, what is it? What happens when we die? What happens to us? What are we?
Yeah, the ultimate
Everything
question.
that people are doing is that question. The guys who are making Warframe are asking themselves what happens when we die with everything that they're doing with this game. Because it's what they're doing. It's their shout into their void. Gonna piss
It's
off the
just
Oracles.
theirs is just much bigger than ours, or much
Yeah,
bigger
man.
than average person's.
But is it really like, I mean, when you really think about it, it's an amazing game, but like, compared to like someone like Madame Curie or Rosa Parks or Susan B. Anthony, like, what is a game that we all played and had a lot of fun, and it's one of the most incredible bang for your bucks, like, compared to someone in the Black Plague era that would have just like escaped famine and their family would have been like their little sister was raped and murdered during the crossing to the new world or whatever, and you're like you come out of a time portal and you're like, no dude, check this out, let me put this thing in your hands, check this out, okay, see these lights, that what's special about these lights is that other lights make you pay for them, and like they wouldn't even know what the fuck you're
Yeah,
talking about. They wouldn't even know like why it matters to the grand scheme of things, where you're like, no dude, this is this shit, look at this, look, stick, flick it, flick the stick,
yeah.
will probably kill you or whatever the fuck.
Where yeah, they
Where
exile
it's like,
you.
does it? So it's like what I'm saying is like, does it matter what Digital Extremes did? Does it matter what Eminem did? Does it matter what fucking XXX Tentacion, like he's dead, like, and now people seem to give a fuck because after you die, that's when people really get into your shit and understand. Like, man, this guy was saying
He
dirty
was
what?
yeah. So
But
is
what
it?
like when you're like it's a much bigger shout than ours? It's like, is it though? Because it's who makes it. Like you are the walls that shout echoes off of, that reverberates back to them and lets them know that like, wow, that got some distance. Because if we weren't here to play Warframe, if we weren't here to look at it and think about what we think about it, if we weren't here to listen to the music, if we weren't here to think about death and think about the end and then create art from that because it is your swan song, it's your like, I really don't want to, like, I don't want to die, I don't, like, and so you're just making all this cool shit, you're just making like, what about a world where we had like mechs and they got into an ancient battle and these children piloted them, but they were technology from eldritch civilization that was a progenitor race that had ornate weaponry, it was like gold and molecular technology that's based off of like psychedelics and dimethyltryptamine like shit, and then it's like all this little original neat stuff or these like things
Like
that you want to think
dimension.
about is a way to just forget that. What if you die? What if you're gonna die? What you're gonna, because you're gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like everything, and they don't want you to think about it like this. They don't. The world that is a world that wants you to sell, that wants to sell you the experience of the next concert, the next girl you're gonna fuck on Tinder, the next phone you're gonna upgrade to, the next life getting better, life constantly upgrading, the come up, and they never want you to think about all the in all the phones that you upgrade to, all the millions of phones that are still just as advanced as a piece of technology as they were the year they dropped, and now they're just in some army donation bin, or there are a million shattered OSs in some bunk fucking garage somewhere that's gonna get sold off or smashed up when Loomis comes to town and puts them in the van. And why do they carry guns? Because it's probably an operation for money. Because it goes from Apple to your broken pocket to bitches that can't take care of a $1,200 tricorder to the fucking van. Where these guys with the guns come and pick them up out of those new machines you see now where you can sell your phone to these things and they're like, I'll give you a, it's like that, basically that like Guado character from like fucking Star Wars, the was it Revenge of the, not Revenge of the Sith, but
I'm
the
not a
Phantom
big
Menace, where
Star
he's like,
Wars fan, but
hey, I give you a good price for a phone. No,
yeah.
it's like you're basically bartering at the black market, and this machine is going to give you whatever. But
Yeah.
all this technology, all this, they don't want you to think about all these things going away. They just want you to constantly be looking towards the future, because that would be the opposite of the world of that you are going to get old, you are going to fade away, the young are going to eat you whenever you become an old, irrelevant nobody that only wants to talk about what happened to the art, man. Games used to be so beautiful, man. Single player. Shut up, old man. We want to buy V-Bucks. I want a fat ass. I want everything, and I want it with my parents' credit card because if I have to play this, I'm gonna scream.
Yeah, it's like, are you scared that one day you're just gonna turn into an old man that can't do anything but just
Yeah,
watch?
that's why I
Yeah,
try to constantly be looking at it towards, especially as a man, you have to look at it like what you do today echoes in eternity. What you eat, what you decide to fall victim to in terms of lust, in terms of temptation, the way you degenerate your mind. Your mind is a steel, it has to be a steel trap. It has to be a temple, but good luck in this day and age, man. Like, impulsive people that just at the drop of a hat can be triggered to be like, ooh, like, think of how many gamers bought Wisp for exactly what me and you know they bought her for.
yeah,
I'm one of them. Fucking
nice.
wasted my goddamn plat on that bitch. No ROI, waste of time. Opportunity
No,
cost.
no ROI. And ROI
Return on
is, yeah,
investment.
I know. Are you, so now everything you try and do, you try and get an ROI in or no?
Yeah, that's why so much where I'm like thinking of leaving Warframe behind because I basically already died the death with this game where it's like
When there's no return
I
for you?
don't care anymore. Like I just, and it sucks because where it's going, we're not going to go into that again because you got a whole episode. Everybody check out episode 12. Getting it on with Warframe.
Yeah, but it's
Fucking
more,
fickle bitch.
but I mean, I don't know, but would you say your time, you've already got your time invested?
I would
In?
say that there are far too many other realities that I want to live in as far as games go for me to
Yeah,
spend any more time here when it's like I don't belong here. Like
yeah,
I don't play this game like the people play it, and games aren't there. Just like I love games, but even I'm not going to just be able to have fun with this, treating it like a collage and an art masterpiece that I walk around and I'm like, man, can you imagine if I was as badass as this dude that I'm following? And now
yeah.
I'm walking down this hallway. So
You'd rather it
get
be
away
your
from me!
own
Get
story?
away!
That's why you like a single player, is
And
because
then you
it's
could
your own.
kill the other warframes and take their organs, and then we make a totally different game. What?
Yeah,
It's like I want games to be the darkest, most weirdest art form and the most beautiful art form that there is because they shouldn't just be this gamey thing anymore where it's like you are Samurai Kudan and you are in the black fucking province and the Skogi have come to fuck your sister. And you're gonna fuck up some Skogi.
yeah, it's gonna be
Fucking like,
like, there's a
action,
reason.
press X to get pre-order
There
now.
should be
Get
a
the golden
reason.
Skogie Battle Edition, big dick. Uh-huh, uh-huh, you ain't shit.
There should be a
It's
reason
like I
why
don't
you're
care
fucking up
anymore.
those shogi.
It's when I go back to like, do I care about dying? Like, I'm not living anymore. I'm not in the novelty of my hands gripping on the controls. Like, I don't care what time it is, dude. I'm staying up till the sun reaches the mountains. I'm not there anymore. I'm not there with life. I'm not there with games. So it's like, I either need to go do something else, like indie games, or in life, I need to go do an experience I could never imagine doing, like jumping out of a plane.
And when you jump out that plane, what,
I think it'll be like a psychedelic experience without drugs, without weed, without psychedelics, without anything. And that's what I want. I want to live.
without drugs?
I want to feel like this is it. Like you are as close
To
to
death.
life as possible, but at the same time, you also have to be okay with the fact that like I could die today. Like I could hit that ground and I could never come back
So you
as me.
believe that life is death?
I believe that life is learning to be okay with your death.
Yeah.
The point of this whole game is to play it to completion, 100% this thing, and then understand that you are going to die at the end. All your stats, all your
Reset.
accolades, all your trophies, all your guns and swords and clansmen and achievements,
Yeah.
The Citadel will sit empty in space one day. The fusion on the relays, ages from now, will eventually give out and they will fall into the void of space. The dojo will float vacant and you will have all moved on. And
Yeah.
that is as it's always been. The amount of times that I pass by restaurants on my way to work or old houses out in the forest and you can stand in the threshold where of this adobe brick hut that used to be some guy's home and
Someone
imagine
used to
like
live in there, but now it's nothing.
somebody used to walk in here at the end of a long day. Somebody used to kick their feet up, looking out the window over the mountains, thinking about whatever human probably thinks about when they're like, what's next? Like,
But
is
now
there
that
more?
house is nothing.
Now I'm some strange fucking millennial dude with a beard standing in their house in 2020 thinking about who they were and where they went. And as sure as their game was as in their face and as like, to get the quick time event, you missed it, you're dead.
Yeah.
I'm here now and they're gone.
Yeah. No,
Like
that.
in this game, it's like you'll just be playing one day and it's like in God of War or a lot of quick time games where like the fucking button just comes up on screen, it's like square and you're like shit, shit, and you miss and you die. Instead of the egg when you were driving home, it's like you fucked up the quick time event. You had your head cut off.
Yeah. Or it's like,
Instead of him telling you that's your family down there, bro. They miss you. It would be your friends like, bro, you suck. Only a fucking noob gets his head cut off, man. I don't even get cut off. I can't. This character doesn't even kill me, dude. I can solo this character. Fucking die, bitch.
yeah.
As you
That'd be
fade
pretty
off into
funny.
the Dimitri, into the Mystic, you just hear your clansmen like, faggot.
Yeah. So you think, is life really that all eventful though? Would you say? How eventful is your life, would you say?
I mean, if you go off Jung, if you go off what he says, life is suffering. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't personally ascribe to that belief, but I think if I look at my life in all actuality, like it ain't really been much. That's why I want to go and do what I'm going to do now when I get the chance and this quarantine finally ends. Because yeah, all my life has been, in all reality, is just going to school, trying to get laid, succeeding, failing, destroying my life,
And
fucking working for
unhappy?
corporations from 19 to 25 and just been in a village in the Southwest, in the mountains, my entire life.
Mm, uneventful. Would you wanna, what would be your all-time goal as a person?
To create,
To create? Yeah, I think that's the same for me. I'd agree with that. Because I mean, I want to create something that's a noise. I don't know. That sounded weird, but I want to create. Um,
you
as
want to
far
make
as
a
art,
dent in the universe,
yeah,
to quote Richard Cooper.
that would be the goal for sure.
I think everybody wants to do that. I think everybody wants to think that they're not just here because two people were madly in love or horny for each other or whatever the hell got you here. And you're like, no, man, it ain't just happenstance. I'm going to do something that matters. This all isn't just chaos. And I used to feel that way in a lot of ways, and I still try to, but the nihilism and the pessimism of age sets in. It really does. It is hard to, like, creativity drops off after 25. It's scientifically proven. They've studied men, they've studied women. You only have a window to be as, I mean, you look at certain things and you're like, some people are just in tune to a muse that is greater than yours. Like, you look at Warframe and you're like, man, these guys are on a frequency that I never even knew existed. Like, the
Yeah.
words they use with this game and the way the story is. Like, would you even have known how to, like, if they gave you all of the cliff notes of what's involved in Warframe's story, and then they're like, all right, make a story out of it, go. Like, I wouldn't even have
Uh,
known how to, like, put together as intricate as a tale as they've, like, because it's not spoon-fed, it's not, you really have to
I mean, I could
know a lot
attend to,
about it.
but I don't know. It comes down to how much you know about storytelling. Like, it's how you tell the story, I believe. Like, I know
Yeah,
some
it's
people that
all,
have just watched a movie and they're like, that shit was fucking boring. But I don't know. Maybe more recently I've changed the way I've thought about things into, oh, if that
yeah,
was
but they
boring.
themselves, they themselves are never the ones that think about, like, could you do better? Could you even attempt to make this horror movie? Like, could you make this book? Could you make this game? Most people like to hold themselves to the standards of, like,
This shit
man,
was
I'm
easy.
Spielberg, I'm Tim Schafer, I'm Quentin Tarantino, I'm Ken Levine. I could have made a better version of Skyrim. It's like, bitch, like, have you ever played a shitty game and really, like, I play a lot of shitty games because you really understand the scope of what it takes to make a game feel like, wow, this is quality. Like, and not just, this is a textured environment. That doesn't feel like a faraway mountain. I'm just running over the land. I'm just, like, clipping through the, like, there is a lot that goes into a game. Like, even something like Warframe where people want to say that, like, it's just a Destiny clone or it's choppy or floaty or whatever. It's like, dude, go play a game like Zombie or go play a game like Wander. Go play a game like, that one, Naughty Bear. Like, play a broken game with beautiful concepts that are dying under the weight of the broken skeleton of the world that they've been created in, and tell me that a game that is competent is not. Because people that look at it like, oh, I could do better, dude. I could build Warframe. It's like, no, you couldn't, bitch.
I could build, uh, fucking, I don't know. I probably could have built shit.
Yeah, nobody. Like, that's the whole entitlement of this generation. Like, you're able to watch and engage in so many different mediums, and you, from the leisure and the comfort of your armchair, from behind your controller, you can just balk and point at things and laugh and think that it's so funny because you have never actually tried to care. You've never actually tried to put your all into your art and bleed and die for it and have people out there like, this is gay, dude. Why don't you kill yourself?
Yeah, a lot of work goes into shit like that.
Yeah, even the most, like, watch shitty movies, play shitty games, and think about that it still took somebody, even if it was a year or even 2 years, of giving a fuck every day of their life, which is more than you can say that you have done for anything. And I'm talking to myself as well.
Yeah,
And it didn't pan out. And it was shit, and everybody made fun of it, and everybody got their YouTube content off of it, and they made you look like a chump, but you are in the arena getting your arms ripped off, and they're just spectating.
yeah.
It's a
It's like,
real easy to talk shit when you're not a gladiator.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. With like some games, cause here's where the argument kind of, cause like a game like Call of Duty or Destiny, would you rip that game apart?
There's a lot of things that I would rip it apart for, but there are a lot of things where I will give it its credit. Like, we're not going to start off on Destiny because it's a whole episode in itself of, like,
Yeah,
ET, the Destiny Terrestrial or some shit. That'd be the name, whatever. Because, like, I got thoughts on Destiny, man. Destiny thoughts for days.
yeah. But
But to
like,
say the least of Destiny, its potential is still there. The reason why it is the most lucrative, successful, like, fire team based shooter multiplayer game that there is because all those mechanics and the skeleton of a great space epic, like, masterpiece of the game was still there. And it'll draw people in. Just because the game isn't there anymore, the skeleton is still there. People can still get in there and play some of the most drop in, drop out, seamless, cooperative multiplayer with, like, fun, addictive, frenetic gameplay that is both mechanically and systemically satisfying.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
there's still so much where it's like everything wrong with. I mean, fuck it, let's go into it. If we want to talk about death, Destiny was the death of the games industry. For me and my generation and old heads that talk about things like Fallout 3 and Fable 2 and Prey, Fusion,
I
it
think
was
for
the
me that was
coup
the
de grace.
beginning of the end too, because I would have to say that because I played Gary's mod, I played Half-Life. Well, never Half-Life, but I did play a lot of Gary's mod. I
Dude,
was a big. Oh, sorry. Say what you were gonna say.
go on.
Oh, I played a lot of Gary's mod, and that was one of my favorite games. Sadly, it will die out, unfortunately, but I don't know. It's
Destiny
like,
was the first time that like I bought the systems had barely been out for a year at that point, and you're finally starting to get these games that you've been hearing about in Game Informer on the horizon for the longest
yeah,
time.
for like a
And this was when
year,
it really all started to change. This was when it really started to be like
everything was
temper
about
your
money.
expectations. Like, no, it wasn't even so much that yet. It was like you better not expect to buy $60 games anymore and have them not be something that you beat in 24 hours. Because that was my experience with Destiny, and I had never before, like, at the time, like, that was unprecedented. Playing that game, the first few missions, the feel of, like,
Especially with
when
the
you're
budget
opening up
that
the
they
satellite,
had, like what Red Dead did compared to
yeah,
what.
and going into it, having all the Game Informer articles, and I'm fucking sorry, forgive me for following it religiously like I used to follow games. Destiny was the game without knowing about it, without knowing what happened. All I had was every Game Informer article I'd read for years prior that was like, you are going to go in real time in this game, and one of your buddies will have like a distress
Yeah,
call on Pluto, and over months in real time, you're going to leave off planet Earth on your ship, and you are going to fly to Pluto throughout this huge, epic Star Wars, like Lord of the Rings-esque galaxy, where you're going to pick up a ragtag motley crew of other players along the way, where eventually, by the time you get there, it could be like 6 months later in real time in the game, and you get to touch down on that planet, rescue your buddy, and then like in a Firefly fucking type situation, you make it back, or you go off into the universe and further have other adventures. Like, it
yeah,
was a game that was going to speak to the fact that it had a $500 million budget. No game had ever, I don't think even since, has had a $500 million contract attached to
yeah,
it
and that didn't
and a
feel
10-year
like a
plan.
five. That did not feel
Now,
like
for
a.
me, yeah, after going from all that, now fucking, I get the game. I'm playing it for 24 hours. The story's
I'm pretty sure it was a
amazing. It's
billion
Joseph
dollar.
Staten at his finest. No, it was 500 million. I remember.
Uh, I remember they said
Because
a
it was one of the
billion.
most expensive game budgets that I'd ever heard of at the time. Because I used to follow games religiously. I used to know what every game budget was. I used to know what every, like, that was like, wow, this game is going to be epic. Like, 500 million sounds like the game that would have been the space epic, the scope of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Like, the scale and the fantasy and the fiction. Like, but no, what it was and what we got, and when I first started playing it,
Was a shitty
granted, it
story.
was the campaign, man. No, the story was amazing. The story is the best thing about Destiny because it was written by fucking Joseph Staten, the
I didn't like the
master
story.
craftsman behind Halo. Compared to the rest of the shit that is Destiny 2 and Taken King and every other bit of the downloads that they made where it's like, Cade dies, and we're gonna do a bunch of Hollywood exposition with these fucking Romans, and might as well basically be Troy the Conqueror or some shit, like an old B-movie Golden Age script that we're doing with Cabal soldiers.
Wait, did
The
I miss
first
out on
Destiny
something here? Cause
was
the
Joseph
first,
Staten's script, man, and there was a lot of nuance to it. They
cause
never
it,
explained, and they never
in
will
the
about that robot
first,
chick.
cause in the first Destiny, I hated the story. The story was ass, in my opinion. That was my least favorite part. Raids were the only thing I liked
Yeah, for
because
me,
the
the story was
story.
amazing. Like, it's subtle. It's not like a stupid in-your-face Michael Bay. Like, there's nuance to it. There's nuance of that they never, because once Joseph Staten, the lead designer, left, that's all you had was that tiny little tip of the iceberg of this gigantic space epic that they were planning. And Joseph Staten wrote all 3 Halo games. He is one of the best, most prolific science fiction writers in gaming. He was the guy to do it. That's why, for me, I love the story in the first one, because that's one of the only reasons I still go back from time to time and play it. And the way it played out was like, before I knew what the game wasn't, thinking about it, thinking that like just buying it and you're like, man, this is a space epic. We're going to be going into space. Eventually, somehow, the ships will come into play and we'll be going off planet. I think the ship that I just got, when you like don't realize it, you're like, oh, it's a loading screen. But at first I was like, no, I probably just have to get an attachment or something and then I can fly it. And so as I suddenly started to realize, like, man, this game is really interesting because like the mission where you open up the satellite array and that Halo-esque music that comes in like dun, 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 like, and it's all like you're fighting off the aliens and like you feel like this sense of adventure starting to rise and this sense of like the plot starting to pick up and gain momentum and you're like, man, this is like, the rest of the game is like this. Credits. And then like that was like within 24 hours they are trying to invoke the fucking goddamn the ending of Return of the Jedi with all of them standing around in the tower, all the Guardians standing around in the fucking tower as if we'd just gone on some 10-year-long epic, and they're trying to, like, invoke this geek cred that, like, what did I just pay? 60 fucking dollars? And that was the beginning of the end. That was me, like, bowing out of mainstream. That was me, like, if you fucking ask me for $60 plus $5 tax, you better deliver the heavens and the earth.
Well, that was the thing. I didn't like the story from the beginning, and basically, I was already mad, like, 'cause the story was ass, in my opinion. I didn't like it at all. There
Why
was
did
no,
you think it was ass?
'cause there was no, I don't know, it didn't feel like a journey. That's the whole reason why I didn't like it. It
For
just
me, it feels like the
like
beginning of a journey, which is like it's
like
just starting to pick up, but then it dies. It just
yeah,
dies.
yeah, that's kind of what I have to. I can kind of agree with that. Like it felt like it started, and then it just ended. The second it feels like it started with the black, I like the black garden, and that's when I started liking it, and I was like, okay, maybe this is kind of cool, and then nothing. It was done.
Yeah, really, what it was is like there's bits and elements in there. Like all the things they're using is brilliant science fiction written by Joseph Staten, but it's all copy and pasted sporadically in the way that they're like, oh shit, we just pissed off Joseph and the lead designer, and they left. They said, fuck this, I'm out. And now we got to put together this space epic because we're still signed with Activision, and this thing is coming out in next summer. So they pretty much had to do like a skin graft and like put parts of the game where they didn't go and like take parts where they like the game feels very chopped up and like, man, whatever this was in
Well,
another universe,
I just don't like
Xbox
the
didn't sell
fact
the
that they
IP
lied.
and it became their Halo.
I
They
don't
hadn't
like the
fucked it up,
fact
it
I
would
don't
have been
like the
Halo.
fact that they lied because they should have just said it was gonna be like Halo, but kind of different, you know?
Yeah,
Because
after
if
everything
they
happened, they
if
should have
they
come out and
didn't,
said that it's no longer a space epic.
yeah, no, because if they just would have been honest, then maybe I would have gave it that pass. But it's the fact that they had to lie and be like, it's gonna be fucking like months in travel, like goddamn what No Man's Sky was supposed to do. Even though No Man's Sky, I would say actually came closer to doing what to they came closer to doing what Destiny was trying to go for. Like I'm
Yeah, after they
not
committed fraud on a wide
yeah,
scale.
after so let's say all that shit after they committed fraud, all that they did you can't lie, they did come closer than Destiny did. After all that, after all the
It's
criticism.
another precedent that it sets, like an unhealthy one, is that gamers are just like, hey man, you can play it
Yeah,
now, and it's pretty cool,
and they
so
still
stop
buy
your
it.
bitching and quit being entitled. And it's like, so the next time you get your dreams pissed on, the next time you get your heart ripped out, because it will happen to you, eventually Battle Royale games will take you for all your money, or you'll realize that, oh shit, everybody moved on, or whatever games you give a fuck about will eventually be nothing, and it will all move on, and the youth will eat you alive as well. Just won't care if it affects you, no one ever does.
Yeah, it's like I feel like if they just didn't lie about it, you know, I would have been fine with it, but it's just the fact that they had to lie.
And Destiny was like really the beginning of like where I'm like, so $60 games, and then me and my friends are the end game, and the game is really just 3 planets and a moon, and we're gonna do the same raids every day and the same bounties every day, like a job, to the point where I am a Pavlovian dog, and I instinctively pick up bounties that I'd already done just because I was like, oh, it's that time of day, I gotta go do the bounty. I'm like, I had to get so far away from that game after I got addicted to it because I'm like, this is not gaming. This is not. And sadly enough, that was gaming. That is what gaming became, and that is what gaming is for most people because they don't care about it as an art form. Like Galactic said, and I understand that there's different types of gamers. Like some people just don't see it as art. They just see it as like, I want
A
stimulus, I
game.
want content, I want to play this.
Yeah, it's like the little numbers. I don't agree with that though. And the thing is that so many
I don't
people
either
agree
because
with
that's
that.
what's killing the art. That's what's killing the
Yeah,
most. This
like,
this thing is not even 30 years young, and it's already kicking the bucket.
yeah, it's like, oh, we're done.
Because what you can do with AAA budgets is not the same. Like a beautiful masterpiece of an indie game is still not a masterpiece of a AAA game. Like the journey that an indie game can take you on is only like the first part or the first, like, you know, where it's, you're like, wow, man, this is getting good. That's usually where a lot of indie games are going to bid farewell, and I don't mind that because there's a beauty in that, like I've said and I've gone over. But with AAA games, we can't lose that, where it's just like, so we're just going to take these $300 million budgeted Pixar-like graphic
Yeah, because they
games,
don't have
and we're
that
just going to make
budget.
laser tag.
Yeah, but they don't have, like, indie games don't have that budget, so that they have a fucking small budget, so they do. I give them that excuse
No, but
of,
that's what I'm saying is that that's the difference between AAA and indie, where it's like AAA is able to give you adventures and experiences where it's like you can make games like Skyrim, so stop with this fucking free to play games as a service. All there is skins and shooting each other and last man standing laser tag. That's the game. That's what you're gonna pay us $5,000 for over
the
the next six
same,
years.
almost like the same thing over and over again.
And it's like you come back to death. You come back to that is
It's
the
like
death of
you
the
want to
industry.
die.
That is the rigor mortis. That is the body just going cold and lifeless. The art
Yeah,
form kills over and becomes homogenized and just gentrified.
yeah,
And it
which,
pretty much is. I mean, everything at this point that is big is a battle royale, is a games as a service, is a lifestyle choice game. What game nowadays is not asking you, like, hey man, come back, spend time here, spend time with us. It's only been 4 years, it's only been 5 years, it's only been 6 years. Hey man, it's 2025. You getting season 10?
yeah, it's like, I don't know.
You gotta get
But I
season
mean, it
10, man,
gets
or I'll
them the
hunt you down
money
and kill you.
though, so it's like, I don't know. That's how they, because I
Yeah,
guess in
people are gonna
some
buy it.
ways,
This whole
yeah.
new generation of gamers, that's what they want. And for me, it took me at least a decade to get disenfranchised with what I thought I wanted from games, and then to go for what
What
I
I
found that I'm like, wow.
what I
So
hate
these kids
though,
are gonna.
what I hate though is that people are like, I hate people that are like, oh, you just finessed this man out of $1 million, fucked up his life. Yeah, good for you. Like I don't agree with that in a sense of, like, you know how like the whole culture of LA of fucking people's lives over is like, have you heard about that? You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Well, in LA, instead of not in, this is like known from a lot of actors and stuff, it is known to be a good thing to fuck people's lives over, basically. And I don't know if I could agree with that.
All great artists steal. Notch stole the idea from his friend or some chump he knew for what Minecraft initially became, and then look, he sold it for $4 billion to Microsoft. So say what you will, be a nice guy and finish last, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's
I'm going to
true.
finish last. I'm going to die dead last at this leaderboard because I will not sacrifice my soul to gain the world. I won't become the modern man because then I just deserve the modern man's death.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like I understand the whole come last and everything, but it's like I just don't agree with it. Like it's it comes down to like people just put other people down, which I get. Is I don't know. It's just
Why do gamers grieve people? Why do people like to play tricks on noobs and trap them in Minecraft and trap them in Fortnite? And why do people like to do these things? Because it's funny. Because you can't do shit to me. I don't, but gamers is a prevailing like thing where like yeah, they agree. They like the asshole. They like to people
yeah.
like to watch streams
That's
of dudes talking to people. Like
maybe that's
whenever you
just me
watch
talking
streams,
because I would be the one that gets fucked over all the time. Like I don't know, maybe that's just me as like a call for help of oh I'm getting fucked over, like that's not right, but
there are assholes everywhere, but you still need to believe. You can't lose faith that most people are good. Because in the end, you may have to rely on those people.
of the over the assholes on like you have to rely on the dickheads.
You can also rely on your enemies and assholes because they can tell you something about yourself that you would never admit. You can even learn something from your enemies.
Yeah.
Especially if they kill you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like it's weird, I guess you could say. Like
This whole thing
I
is
don't know how
weird.
to
It's
feel.
weird to think that one day we're gonna be either ashes or dust or corpses, and nobody thinks about that. People think it's like morbid. I guess, yeah, it is in the sense the taboo of like you don't talk about religion, politics, sex, or death. But I mean, what the fuck is there to talk about then?
Yeah, because that is life.
That is the tapestry and the trappings of life, life and death, start and pause.
Yeah, it's very much like I don't like do you worry just because you're gonna die, or do you worry because there's some shit going on? I don't. Uh, how do I explain this? Like,
Take your time.
do you worry like what makes you worry? Would you say, like, out of everything?
Invalidity, illness, growing old and feeble, pain, because that is the physical mechanics of this game, like taking hold, where it's like, oh, you fucked up your hands, now you got arthritis, now that's basically like a status buff or a debuff that you're never gonna shake off. Like, you just got fucked. You just picked up a permanent status effect. Oh shit, bro, you got diabetes, you just got status effect.
That's permanent.
You just got fucked, man, you just got debuffed. Ooh, you got that chick
You
pregnant
got
and you
that
don't have a
corona.
job.
You got that corona 2 week debuff or some shit.
You just got the family expansion and you ain't even passed the tutorial yet because you were fucking at the age of 15. Somebody just griefed you and your family because they were driving around drunk in their spaceship in the game. They're like, holy shit, dude, you can drive drunk. I'm gonna fucking kill that family. And then you wake up in the fucking wreckage of your car and your dad and mom are dead and they will not respawn. And then you gotta go the rest of the game. and try not to lose your mind about that.
But yet, if it's a game, then no one would care. Because
I mean,
everybody
it's
in
still
games are
serious. You still love
psychopaths.
them.
Well, yeah, but
Like,
in games, everybody. Let's say we're not the ones with the
we're not
controller.
psychopaths. I mean, in the
Like,
sense that, I mean, you are kind of, you sound psychopathic when you're like, all right, dude, you guys have immersed me so much that I'm not gonna kill any of you.
well, that's if we're
Like,
playing that. Let's say
hey, what
we
fella? I think you're real,
like.
so I ain't gonna rape you.
What if there's someone just using a controller, but we're just immersing ourselves? You know, like
If
there's
there's
someone.
someone using a controller right now and they're playing a game of a guy in as realistic of graphics as I'm seeing right now, and I'm using a controller and I can see what he's playing on his TV and they're playing it in their minds or in some quantum virtual reality computer fucking thing, and they're like doing this as mundane as like when I lose my shit, when I can recreate mundane things in Grand Theft Auto, I'm like, dude, I can get drunk in the middle of the night and probably engage in unhealthy habits that will kill me in my late 50s. This is fucking awesome. I love this. Or like I can smoke cigarettes and drink out front of a fucking convenience store just like the mediocrity and the slice of life.
Yeah. Oh.
So that guy is like, dude, I can sit in a room as a depressed, nihilistic young man and I can play a game that I don't want to play anymore. And he's like, this game is so cool, Dad! Dad, get in here! Check out this dude, look how depressed I can make this guy. Check it out, look at this slider. If I slide it, I can make him suicidal. It's
Yeah.
cool, right? That's pretty cool, buddy. Have a good Christmas. Thanks, Dad. Love you.
Oh man.
And he's just playing his brand new game, and he's content, and he's in a novel space, and he's warm and comfy and safe, and he is where he is, and whatever he is doesn't matter because where he is safe,
Yeah.
and he's having fun.
But what if? See, that gets into the mind fuck of like, what if there's someone playing him and fucking like, why like if we are all just depressed because someone just turned on that fucking depressed slider.
Is he depressed because all he can do is live my life and think that it's real, and want to like? You ever have those feelings, Ben, where you're so depressed that you're like, why can't I be Geralt? Why can't I really be Link? Why can't I fucking, like, you know what I mean? Like, you want
Not
to be in that
necessarily
world.
game characters, but other people, yeah. Why can't I be this person? Yes, I.
So imagine if death and everything is that far removed from like our lives of like somewhere in some life he's playing the game of you, and he's like, God, why can't I be Ben, dude? It's so awesome what he does. Like, I want to jack off. I want to like lay around my house all day and like want to kill myself, dude. Fucking yeah.
Oh man, and that comes down to like, then we're fucked. It's like if the
Yeah, it's
corpus
like if they're
don't know
using
what's
us to
going
have
on,
fun,
it's the same thing as if the
and
corpus
the
don't know
corpus
what's
sold him
going
that
on.
game,
Yeah.
and they're gonna sell him the next game, the next year, on the next system, on the next update, on the next upgrade, on the next TV. They're gonna get that corpus pre-order, son, at gunpoint because it's state mandated.
Yeah. You ever think, are you a believer that one day we're all just gonna become hostages for fucking corporations of business where if we don't buy that, then we go to jail or some shit? Like we just get, I don't know, that's such like a fantasy thought, but it's
I
like,
don't know, in a way we kind of already are with how much the middle class is disappearing in this country, and corporations like Google, Facebook, Twitter, Walmart, McDonald's, Burger King, major fast food chains, Target, fucking these things are like Amazon. They're all taking over. They're all consolidating their power and becoming just like in a cyberpunk where 7 or 11 corporations, 7-Eleven, own the world.
yeah, like less
And they
more
are,
corporations are
they've
dying.
mixed with where the lobbyists now support, they have so much money, the corporations have so much influence, they're basically people themselves and they have the rights and
Would you
in
say that has to do with
freedoms.
Trump?
I think it just has to do with money and the fact that, again, we like what we like. People like You probably want to eventually get a different TV. You probably eventually want to buy and play a different game besides Warframe. You probably eventually want to upgrade and do something else, and they are
Yeah,
waiting to sell that to you.
but
Hell, dude,
what?
when you die, whoever like arranges your estate, they're going to be like, or if I die, or if when my mom or grandma or my dad dies, somebody is going to try to upsell me on a coffin. Like they're going to try to upgrade my like. Well, you can get this like pre-order coffin, like the equivalent of a
Would you not want
pre-order
to be cremated?
gold line. I'm gonna get them a bitchin' coffin if I can, or I'm gonna cremate them. I don't know what the fuck they want.
I
Dude,
would.
if I could play a game where I could literally take my clansmen after they died and like in a jar and then walk them up to the edge of a cliff and then hit a button to throw them into the air, like you would be like this is fucking.
Yeah.
If this is a whatever this is, it's just as probable that it's a game as that it's a reincarnated endless Maloka, or it's a reality, a chaotic endless reality where you and yourself and everyone you love doesn't matter because we're all just atoms and everything is infinite and there's parallel realities, and or you're just a flash in the pan, you're just the atheist view where it's like you're just a fart in the wind and once you're gone that's it.
Yeah.
It's all as crazy. Any of these, if any of those are just as likely, and it being a game is just as likely. People love games, dude. Even people that don't care about video games, you show them an immersive enough game and they're like, oh, I want to kind of play with that. That's why GTA is so popular, because people like to immerse themselves in something that isn't them.
Yeah. Because it's not
Escapism.
like a movie. You get to actually play the character out.
Yeah. You can walk down that street. You can choose to go into that store or
You
run
can walk
everybody
down
over on
that
this block. And,
alleyway and get jumped.
yeah, or you can walk down that alleyway and beat up everybody in it.
Yeah.
The allure is there. You can die. You can die in a million different insane,
But they don't make them like they
convoluted
used to
ways.
anymore. It's like those are kind of dying out, which kind of is like, what about our game? Because that is the game that we live in. So is that why it's dying out, or is it not? I don't know.
Yeah, dude, because we got the Marxism update. We got the feminism expansion. We got the postmodernist DLC. I got everything, dude. I'm a whale. Don't judge me. It's not even my credit card. God's paying for it. And
Yeah.
God's not real.
Well, would you say what creates whales for these types of things? Because
People's sense of having nothing and needing something to feel like they're being hugged, or that narcissistic personality thing of where we said that you just fall in love with yourself and you're just like, oh man, I'm so sexy, I'm so godlike, bro, look at me, bro, I'm such a dude, I'm such a badass, bro, I'm such a fucking, oh my god, man, oh my god, look at me, oh my god, dude.
so my question is, and this is just because like this is a dangerous line, and I feel like to talk about when it comes to like, because when you get into talking about feminism and shit, I feel like
Oh yeah, just
nobody,
because I said that,
yeah,
the algorithms just like now they're seeking us out, just like the machines in the Matrix and the
yeah,
flood through the sewer tunnels. They're like, get up, they're coming now.
yeah, it's
They're
like,
like ripping the fucking door off my pod, and I'm like, Ben, send out the message, god damn it!
no, but like what I mean though is like what exactly is your idea? Because I get a lot of you like you don't believe females should have rights, right?
I don't believe that they should be slaves like Princess Leia, like chained up to the radiator, but I don't believe that they understand for a fraction of history what that men died and bled and were sacrificed to the foreign shores of time to get the rights that they have, to have the authority that they once had in society.
Yeah,
And
just
women think
'cause
that they were oppressed. Like people that want, like, I'm not gonna explain history to people out there. You want to learn how much you weren't oppressed? Any females out there, go and look it up for yourself. Don't listen to Karen Strong. Go listen to
Because we do
suffragettes and
have
what they
like
really
a
were
few
about.
female watchers that I know of.
The people that
So
woke
it's
me
like,
to women's egalitarian hypocritical bullshit were women.
so it is a very fine line of like, what exactly do you mean? Because you can't just, I don't know, when it comes to things like that,
Dude,
I'm
it
not,
doesn't matter what I mean. Nothing's ever going to happen. To
yeah.
get any women to vote away their unearned privileges, you would have to get them to vote for it. And women are one of the biggest voting
And they're a
blocks and
collective.
consumer demographics that there are. Women control the commerce world. Women control the markets. Women control what people want, and men cater to them. People that think men control the world, it's men being governed by women that they want to fuck.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Even though they'll never fuck him, which is kind of the sad
No,
part.
no, those women are going to fuck the men that make them attracted and aroused. And if it wasn't like that, we wouldn't even be playing Warframe, talking to each other on PS4s, on
Because
a
I always
podcast.
go on like Instagram and shit. I always see like toxic men and shit, and it's like I saw this one video and it's like, don't be scared about the coronavirus because we've already gone through a toxic virus that went through the whole world, and that's men. I don't know. I don't know. It's like there's no
And they got what they
equality.
wanted. Men have walked away from society. Men are, as a whole, walking away. Like the death of the family, the death of fatherhood, the death of marriage, the death of the American dream. Postmodernism, like, KO'd this fucking thing. Like, it's if you look at the scoreboard right now, it's like nothing but kill cams of postmodernism destroying every foundation of what America and this place used to be. From
Yeah.
the architecture to the literature to the art to the movies we watch to the heroes that people are expected to worship to the very hero's journey itself because they think it's patriarchal. They want it to be the feminist journey. And it's like you will destroy art and then you will die.
Yeah.
Because artists, people, humanity won't stand for that. That's what
Yeah.
all this is doing. That's why people that act like, oh, why are you so mad? It's like, if you're not, you don't see the scope of. You ever see the Fairly Odd Parents?
The fair. Yes, I have.
Did you ever see the episode, probably really old now, where Timmy wishes the whole world was exactly the same and everyone becomes gray blobs?
Uh, no, I haven't. I haven't watched that show in so long, man. The only show
That
that
was a
really
very
ever
cathartic
came
show.
out to me, that like ever really like standed out to me, I think was the one where shit. I don't even remember. Uh, oh yeah, no, I do remember. It was the one where they turned Timmy into a girl. They're like, I don't know. That one was like a,
How apt.
huh? No, because
Very
when I was
important.
younger, that thought has never even crossed my head, you know. And then like that fucked a lot of shit up for me. I'm not even gonna lie, but it's like when
Dude,
that
cartoons fucked a lot of shit up for me. Like, cartoonists are basically just perverts that became adults that are like your parents leave you alone with for 8 or 9 hours a day while they go to work, and they're just like, here, watch this, it's a cartoon. And then these guys are basically just
nothing's
like,
wrong with the cartoon.
you know how when a teacher is trying to be cool, like a
Yeah,
substitute teacher or something, and they're like trying to be cool, and they're let's rap them, and they like flip a chair around, they sit on it backwards, and they flip their cap around backwards. It's
yeah,
like a cartoon. It's like an illustrator. Like, let me tell you how the world works, kid. And that's what those fucking cartoons are doing for 8 hours a day. While they're like, women have fat asses, and because every cartoon mom ever growing
yeah.
up,
It's
and Rule
a
34 has seen
fat
to it that they've all
ass.
been made into horrible, filthy sluts. Yeah, they were all drawn. Dexter's mom, fucking chibi robot, his mom, or no, what was that one? Kid robot, or whichever one it was. Damn, Laszlo, fucking, like the amount of, and again, this goes back into the degeneracy and the death of, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, and I'm not justifying it, but like I've been, like, trying to probably get off porn and not even realizing how addicted you are, really, since, so I was probably 15, dude. Like, some of you out there don't even understand the scope of your addiction to this degeneracy yet. Try to get off it. Try to truly have some willpower, and then you'll understand the war, the battlefield you're on. You're like, what is this that I'm leaning up against? It's cover, motherfucker! Keep your head down! Because they're throwing porn at you, and fucking all the free Sodom and Gomorrah nonsense that you want. And odds are you won't escape. No one does. You will become the modern man.
Well,
And if you do, don't think for a second that you're better than Epstein. Don't think for a second that you're better than the people that run this world and probably traffic children and probably, I'm not even justifying it. It's sick, demonic, Luciferian shit, and they need to be found and brought to justice. Allegedly, you can't prove they've done any of this, but if you get into Pizzagate, if you get into Jimmy Seville and the Royals, if you get into the Hampstead babies, like there's a lot of stuff going on in this country rather than what the narrative is that they think we need to worry about, especially right now with the pandemic. Like, there's real shit. It doesn't matter anymore. And again, whatever happens, if you are a modern degenerate, don't even bother getting into it because you're no better. You are actually worse. And for you to try to take a position of sainthood and a position of opposition against them, you're just a LARPer. You're just acting like you're a saint. You're just acting like you're not a complete lost cause. And I'm talking to myself.
yeah, I mean, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say, but, like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. The whole thing about porn, I guess, because would you say there's any good to porn? You,
No,
no?
after having used it for almost 15 years, no, 10, almost, yeah, 11, 10 years, like, no, there's nothing good about porn. If I could, I would fucking make porn illegal. And I know that gets into a whole argument of, like, censoring arts and getting into, but I really don't think we should even have it. We should have never even been given the opportunity to degenerate ourselves to the point at which we are. Because it's so normalized now that people don't think that they're gone. People don't think that they're heathens.
Hmm. So, what is your standpoint on? Because I don't. You see, here's the thing. I don't like porn, but I think it does do one good thing, or like
What?
maybe two. And one of them is uncensorship. I feel like I'm not a big fan of censoring, and like let's say we probably and there's a lot like just the like Pornhub. There's some people that instead of posting their stuff onto YouTube, they post their stuff onto Pornhub because they know like you know. Now that I guess comes into an argument of what should be like if there should be I guess there should be censorship, but
But
it's
what
like
does it do other than degenerate you to see some uncensored underage chick's pussy or some black chick or some girl who was some guy's daughter or some
yeah,
sex tape or some bestiality or anything where you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually seeing this. Anything that you can't believe you're actually seeing,
I
it's
don't
because the
know, and it
corpus wants you to see it. It's because the corpus wants you to be a fucking slave to your desires. They want you to be a coomer. They want you to be a sex-starved, just fucking low IQ, like, man, I like fat asses and wet pussies.
yeah. I mean,
And I'm so fucking gone off this shit that I can't even get hard unless it's the most sadistic, disgusting, borderline, taboo crossing porn that there is. Like, people don't even realize how degenerate, like, when you said to me before where you're like, no, dude, I just gotta keep going until it's more and more fucked up. and that's
Yeah,
because you develop a tolerance to it.
yeah, that is true. I don't like the fact that it is like a drug and you do but what I mean though, like if a girl starts complaining to me about certain things, yeah, I honestly just tell them watch porn because it's like it's very much like so that way they get to know what it's like for me. It's like because there is those sides of the border. It's like I hate when people complain and it's like but there is that option to just jerk off all day. Like I'm not saying like it's good. I'm not saying that
Oh, it's not good at
fucking
all. You will eventually be drained. You will eventually, your brain will be so, like your synapses will be so burnt out, and you won't even be able to engage in pleasure anymore or even derive
but
anything
with
from
how
the act. You're
females are
just basically
today,
be like,
I honestly think I'd just rather jerk off because it's like
that's what I'm saying. That's like, you can't really blame a lot of people nowadays, but it doesn't make it better. But yeah, guys, that people are like, you should jerk off the porn. It's like, yeah, because these chicks have already been used as fleshlights by every fucking guy there is, so I'd rather die.
yeah, like there's a few, but it's usually like the really
Because a
ugly
lot of
few. It's
times
just like
where I just want
I have
to
friends with them to go
stop
to.
using it, but it's like a lot of times I just use it as maintenance. I'm like, I'm going to fucking jerk off so I can get back to being a fucking normal adult.
Well, I jerk off, I jerk off on compulsion due to hypnosis, but um, a lot of
And you
people.
don't think that you may have a problem then.
I do, man. I fucking do. But like,
Trust me, the moment you truly actively start trying to wrestle that dragon, you will see that you're trapped in this cave and you're probably never going to get out.
oh yeah, no, but like, if a girl starts complaining about certain things, especially girls, because girls don't.
Like what?
I would say like what, but I don't want to put anyone on blast. But like, let me see if I can put someone on blast. Like, like if a girl starts complaining about like, it's probably because I talked to them. I'm like really fucking. I'm trying to think like of a good example, man. But it's like if a girl complains basically about how
I'm just trying
bored
to
she
figure out how to bring
is.
this all back around to death.
Yeah. Yeah. uh. Yeah. I mean, I mean, if you want to look at porn from a death angle, I mean, like
No,
that.
let's not get into death.
No,
We're
like.
already never going to be found on this fucking algorithm. We don't need to start talking about. Hey, dude, when I see like these snuff videos, I just like to see a chick get choked and then just shot in the fucking head right before climax.
Yeah.
Let everybody go. Oh
Well, I
come
mean,
on, don't judge me, you sick fuck. Like you ain't never.
well, look, like, here's the thing though, is that like I feel like it comes down to like who you are as a
Like when
person,
you get into
maybe.
the heavy R stuff, some of the stuff on heavy R and Rule 34, and like don't ever think to yourself that. And if you've been there, you know what I mean. Don't ever think to yourself that you deserve anything other than the life you're probably going to live in and
I
die
don't.
in, or possibly kill yourself.
I want to
And I'm
live
saying this to
another. I want.
myself as well, man, because, like, do you think that you deserve a family? Do you think that you deserve a woman? Like, how can we really hate women that are out there, like, letting all these dudes come inside them or getting their faces fucked or, like,
Yeah.
having all the fun that they can on Tinder just because they can have all this free sex? And it's like, we've been degenerates ourselves with the porn that we've watched. It's like, I may have not done anything in real life with any real people and have a body count where it's like, I'm still not, I'm sorry, going to invest in a girl that's fucked over 50 guys or even 10 guys because that's just a waste of my time and resources, dude. She's going to not, like, the odds of you having a stable relationship with someone like that, you're living in a fantasy, and I'm not going to do that anymore. But I'm also not acting like I am anything worth anybody's time. That's why I don't really care. Again, if I die or smash into the earth or respawn somewhere else or live this game where I'm like, oh, got smashed up, but I didn't die. Now I'm paraplegic in a hospital. How's it any different from when I'm sitting here playing a game that makes me want to die?
Yeah. No, I feel like I feel
Because
like
I have to drive myself with money every day just to avoid welling up inside with the anguish of, I just want a woman. But I'm not stupid. Men have destroyed women, so society is done. The West is done. I'm not going to save this society. I'm not going to contribute to a dying online game.
so. Wait, what do you mean men have destroyed women when you say that? Because I'm not.
Women will always do what the most alpha desirable men want. I don't care what anybody says. That's how reality is. That's how sexual dynamics work. Women, the men that make them wet, the men that they will fuck instantly on the first date, the men that they'll constantly tell you like, "Oh, we're all the good men. I'm so tired of dating bad boys." It's like, no, you're not. You're not tired of getting fucked in every hole by them, and you will always constantly tell that loser faggot that's your best friend, like, "Oh, you're so sweet." And he's like, "I could treat you so good," while he wants to fuck you in every hole. And
Yeah.
women will always deny that guy, and they will always go for those guys who don't give a fuck about them and will do whatever they want with their bodies and use them as sluts. And those women will always be like, "He treats me so bad, but I just can't get enough of him." They'll write songs about them. They'll write movies about them.
Yeah.
They're always the things where you
They're
hear enough
always
songs
gonna
where you're like,
want. They're always gonna want like the
yeah.
fucking
And so I
powerful.
say that to say this. They always go for those men, and those men do what they want. And what those men want to do nowadays
Well,
is
I
they just
was
want to
talking
use
to
women as
my
fleshlights. They want no strings attached relationships. They want to pump and dump, and they want to use women as prostitutes. And they want to basically normalize it to where it's normal to be a single mom if you got pregnant because it's your body, your choice. It's normal to fuck over 1,000 guys before marriage because you got to have your fun, girl. You can't miss out on your sexual prime. And then some chump can just pay for your used up ass. It's like, nah. And if it's going to be that, and it is, and women are going to always
well,
go for those
I've
men, and
talked to
those men have now
some.
become godless, amoral degenerates, where women are now godless, amoral degenerates.
Well, I've talked to some girls, and they've told me, or mainly my stepsister, and she said that it's easier. Like men have it easier to get girls, and I don't
No,
agree with
we
that.
don't. We don't at all. If you think that, you are entitled and you are the modern woman, and I really don't even care to have a conversation with you
But it's
because men do not have it easier. 80% of women find women find the top 80% of men on Tinder and dating apps below average. They go for the top 20% of men. They swipe left on the rest of you motherfuckers, and they swipe right on.
yeah,
Again, this is a stupid meme, but it is true. Here it says
and and
Chad and
her
Tyrone.
and her boyfriend agreed with that statement. But like, I'm not
Of
trying to
course he
say.
would, dude. He's fucking her.
Yeah, it's like,
He's putting his dick inside her. A lot of these guys are just going to agree with anything because, like, oh my god, please don't go away. I can't believe I have someone to put my dick inside of. Thank
well,
you. Thank you.
it's like, I
Most
don't
guys are
know.
just yes men to the gynocentric narrative because they are getting laid. They couldn't give a fuck about other men. There's no in-group preference with men like there is with women.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just like it comes down to like a lot of shit, man. Like,
It
it's
comes
like,
down to that if I talk about this stuff, this particular genre of what's happening with men and women, what happened with the American dream, of that we have nothing because modern women aren't anything to engage in, and then I'm also tired of hearing guys complain about them if they're still just gonna fuck them. If you're the modern man, you deserve a modern woman. Shut your goddamn mouth.
yeah,
Like I don't want to hear it anymore. Unless you're gonna kill yourself or, euthanize yourself or make sure you don't breed and make a fucking another burden on the taxpayer who will never get laid, who will never be venerated, who will never get his due. Then I don't care anymore. I don't feel sorry for these people. When the winter comes, I hope you're wiped out. When the shit hits the fan,
You don't want them to exist.
I mean, nature will take its course. Like, I'll probably die, but they sure as hell won't live either.
Yeah. Do you
Or
believe
they'll
that Mother
become
Nature will
the
take over?
alphas in the area that then kill all the beta dudes, and then they get a huge harem of women that they fuck and live with and have all these bitches until the men in the area that can't get a piece gather together in rebellion and they rip him limb from limb and kill him, like has happened in history whenever a guy hoards all the women.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But yet, no one. I don't think I've ever heard about that in history, but I feel like that is important to know about if that did happen. Has that
Warlords,
happened?
man, harems. There's like sultans with harems of women that get killed by local rebellions. Yeah, like people just look at the mouse utopia experiment. You want to see what's happening to us? We are the beautiful ones, and this shit ain't gonna end well. I'm gonna go on with my life. I'm gonna go skydiving. I'm gonna do stuff, but the beautiful ones are gonna break stuff if they don't. Like the Elliot Rogers of the world and the I don't know what his name was from Virginia Tech and there's only so long that a guy can lose. There's nothing more dangerous than a humiliated man.
I mean, I don't know. For me, I've never really had any girl like me my whole life. Well, I guess that's not true, but it's like,
You would be surprised, Ben, at how like you, as far as Zoomers, you are probably the like atypical Zoomer. Like there is so many guys that have never even been with a girl or kissed a girl or like fingered a girl or done anything because this generation doesn't have a rite of passage anymore. From the time you came out of the womb, you were on the internet. You were already separated by screens. You were already doing things digitally. You were never just hanging out with girls in your neighborhood all summer, all day long, and then you go skinny dipping at the lake. You were never hanging out and you're just like playing truth or dare because everybody is now online. Everybody is now
to be
in.
honest, actually, I guess if you want to go there, yes, but I was in some parts of that, but it was more with like the fucking with like guys and shit. It was
Maybe
never
you're gay.
really.
I don't know, man. And if
No,
you are,
it
you'll have
wasn't.
more of an easy
Looks
time
like I'm gonna
adapting
mute
in this
them.
day and age because if you're straight, you're going to get killed by the mob because you're probably a
No,
deplorable Trump voter who doesn't want to cut his kid's cock off.
that's not what I meant. Like girls just never liked me my whole life. Like I never understood why. Like back in my old town, like people just used to just like make fun of me the whole time, like girls and shit. Back where I used to live, and here people just took advantage of me.
Some people say that 'tis better to have loved and have lost than never to have loved at all, but I only can equate every woman I see now with one woman that I can never have again and who ripped out my fucking heart and who I wish I could just stop thinking about 8 years later. And I almost sometimes, if I had enough money, I would erase all those memories. Whereas if it never would have happened, I would just be like a game character to have spawned in this level, in this save, in my life, and I don't need to remember any of those people because it just sucks to be some mediocre fucking man that you just see her. You just see her with a chick she's banging or some dude or whatever the fuck is going on, and you're like, yeah, I'm just some guy, just somebody you used to know. And that in itself is why I just kind of want to smash into the earth at free fall speeds
Yeah.
or live and experience the thrill and exhilaration of skydiving because everybody wants to do it. Not most people do. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever met a single person that's ever said, "Nah, I don't want to go skydiving."
Yeah, it's very much like I don't know. It's like in my town where I lived,
But if
people
you ever
would
have a girl
make
come
fun of me, man.
along,
And it's like,
and this is me talking again, because I'm like, I may as well be the attitude nowadays. I'm like, be gone, fuck away. But if you ever have a girl come around, don't spit in her face. Don't turn her away. Just see where it goes.
yeah,
But a woman should be first and foremost, and what I've learned and what I'm going to take and keep, and that I should have always had, but you can't because sometimes you need to crash into the barrier in the game to know that it's there. You need to be told that you can't go any further past this point, dude. Turn the fuck around.
Like only demons go past this point.
Yeah, here there be dragons. What I learned is that you don't need them as validation. They shouldn't be the goal of your life. They shouldn't be the objective. They should just be the complement.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Like if your
like,
life is so good, if you have everything handled as a man, you
yeah.
shouldn't need anybody but yourself. And then if you wanted to have a woman in that, if you wanted to enjoy that and share it with her, that's the ideal.
Yeah.
But really, when these women are giving away their bodies in their best prime years and everything that most men would want to these parasitic fucking meats that don't do anything for society and are part of the problem, then there's really not much else to do except like I'm gonna spend $600 on an Animal Crossing Special Edition. I'm gonna jump out of a
Yeah.
plane with my nephew. I'm gonna fucking try to get off porn, but probably fail and constantly relapse.
Yeah, no, I constantly relapse all the time, man.
Where it's to the point where I'm like, yes, it's scary to think about. Like odds are, I could bet that I would die that day, and I'll be wrong because you're not gonna win that bet. You're not gonna get that money. You aren't going to win that bet. You're not a psychic. So I'm probably not going to die. And I don't want to die, but I don't live anymore. I don't truly feel that, like, this is why we were here. And I'm still going to do the thing that everybody does. I'm going to expire. I'm going to be no more.
Yeah. I
One
mean,
day the light on my box will fade, whether the kid turned off the game or his mom found out he was up too late and was like, turn it off. Turn it.
yeah. I always remembered that. That's almost like a good memory of like hiding and stuff from
Yeah.
like I don't know. That's
Before
like
you
a
were left to your own devices and you're like, I could stay up for the next 6 hours. No one's gonna come fuck with me because nobody cares. And now I don't care.
yeah. Because when my mom was alive, like I'm not saying. In fact, yes, I am saying it. But when my mom was alive, she was the only one that really. Like, I'm glad I've got left to my own devices, to be honest. In some ways, I feel like I can do shit, but it's like, I don't know. It just. It got bad for a while, man. Now, but I feel like now, because I've been through that, where I've been left to my own devices, like, I'm actually just fine with just living a normal life and just living day to day, not really complaining.
I'm like that from time to time until I'm going stir crazy.
I don't know. I feel like like I said, after I tried killing myself with that Benadryl, man, I don't know. If you wanna, I wish I could give you like exact amount, but I took a lot. Sometimes I
Nah, I only
still,
do psychedelics.
sometimes I still have the taste in my mouth of the
I'm telling
Benadryl
you,
that I
it's
took.
nothing compared to DMT. You gotta, if you ever get to do it, breathe
Yeah,
in until you don't remember breathing out.
I got you, man. Like I wish I could say that that like no, I wouldn't do DMT, but yes, I am gonna do DMT because I'm invested into psychedelics. Like I know, like psychedelics are not for everyone for sure. Definitely, if you are a normal person, normal thoughts, don't have like do not take psychedelics. If you question things, maybe, but it's very much like my friend, uh,
You will literally think,
Sh-
because you basically
my
are
buddy Shaman,
dying.
I have a friend, his name's Shaman, and he started talking about acid, and I was just thinking, I was like, you should never take acid. No. And also, he has a good YouTube channel. He's a good friend of mine. I actually technically owe him, so I'm gonna just plug his YouTube channel real quick. XP Sunny. So anyone that follows this, go follow him if you get the chance. Really good buddy of mine. He
Shameless
stood up
plug.
for me. Not a lot of not. I don't care. I shameless plug this YouTube channel every day just because I want to see it get out. I want to see somebody enjoy it. I don't know. It's entertainment at the end of the day. But like I don't care about shameless plugs anymore because it's like it needs to get out somehow. Like people don't understand how hard like it is to fucking
To
like
make anybody give a fuck.
the top dogs are the top dogs for a reason, and that's it. Like if you ever wonder how anyone blew up, it's because they're friends with other people that are that big. They have connections.
It's also because they're friends with Susan Wojcicki.
Yeah. So it's like, but yeah, no. Anyone that watches this, please go check him out. Good friend of mine. He stood up for me once, so I respect people that do that. I don't know. Like anyone that watches this, if you can stand up for someone, definitely do it. Might make their day. Might not. I don't fucking
Or you
know.
might get killed for it.
Yeah. I mean, if you know you can, do it.
And then, hey, you press start, you played the game, you died.
Yeah. Um. Fucking. But. Shit, what the fuck was I talking about? I don't even know.
You're dead. There's nothing to know.
Yeah. I think with that, I think we should end this episode just because I think we've been going for about an hour. this, I don't know what the fuck we've been talking about right now. You think it's a good spot to end?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for anyone that watched. This was You're Dead. This was Genuine Podcast. Anything you want to say? You died, okay. We love anyone. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notification bell, and yeah.